Hello and welcome to Vintage Video, the second Wisconsin Grab Bag edition. I'm David Mossner. Service animals perform double duty as companions and serving as an extra set of hands. The Wisconsin Academy of Graduate Services started in 1987 to improve the lives of disabled individuals with highly trained service dogs. The cost to train Addie so she was ready for her person? $10,000. The value to Michael Luber? Priceless. Michael Luber's been waiting a long time for a dog like Addie. He's been in a wheelchair since the 4th grade, muscular dystrophy making it impossible to be independent.
Yeah.
Luber's new dog and friend is also his new pair of hands.
Thank you. She's going to need a lot more independence for me. And second of all, just emotionally, having someone always there and knowing that I'm also responsible for another living being is quite an undertaking for me.
Addie is one of dozens of specially trained dogs that go through the Wisconsin Academy of Graduate Services, or WISC. WISC teaches dogs how to help the disabled. During a rigorous training period, the animals learn some 80 commands, from opening doors to helping at the store.
Drop it, good girl. Thank you.
These dogs like to please human beings. They're not overly intelligent or smart as the common myth, but they simply like to please and they'll do anything for a smile.
WAGS is a not-for-profit service started 4 years ago. It breeds many of its own dogs and gets money to train them from United Way and private donors. The dogs are valued at $10,000. Their worth impossible to figure. WAGS gives the dogs to carefully selected clients at no charge. And they're in big demand. There's now a 2-year waiting list of clients.
Seems like forever, but I've been waiting about a year and a half to 2 years to get her, and definitely worth the wait.
Dave Mossner, WISC News 3, Janesville. You want to talk about big tomatoes? How about a plant 7 feet high with vines stretching 60 feet? That describes the crop grown in Janesville by Can-Do Industries without the benefit of dirt. Joe Phillips is a master gardener when it comes to tomatoes.
I like working outside, working with plants.
But these plants are something else, climbing 7 feet high. Vines stretch 60 feet. It's Phillips' job to make sure they grow the right direction.
To keep them straight up in the air, so when they grow, they got more room.
Tomatoes like these won't grow in a backyard garden. The plants don't even need dirt. They grow hydroponically, planted in water and given just the right amount of plant food.
They receive much more care than a homegrown tomato. The environment is controlled much better. We haven't had any pest problems, any disease problems, and we don't expect any.
They're known as Caruso tomatoes, harvested here at Can-Do 8 months a year, soon to be a year-round crop. Can-Do is a private, non-profit agency that employs mentally and physically disabled.
Gardening therapy is probably one of the best types of self-improvement and, for your disposition and so forth. And there's no question that that's a value to our people. And
a value in the store. Janesville's West Side Sentry buys 250 pounds every other day.
These do very well for us, like I said, and they taste as good as they look.
And sales should stay hot. Besides being a local product, customers say the way it's grown makes a difference.
It's a more perfect tomato. There aren't bad spots in it. It's a juicier but yet meatier tomato without all of the seeds.
While Rock Gardens plans its expansion, all the tomatoes it can grow are selling from Rockford to Madison. Dave Mossner, WISC News 3, Janesville. In an effort to help parents and their children, a second community center opened in Beloit to give moms, dads, and their kids what they needed to grow strong. Joseph Brown wants to be the next Magic Johnson, so he's practicing his game and learning how to stay out of trouble.
While you're in here, you might not think about doing crime, you think about having fun, and then when you leave, it makes you want to come back.
Brown hopes friends from the neighborhood join him. The new center hopes to attract lots of kids, especially young ones.
If we can get the children coming here and have programs for them, then you've got a chance.
In addition to the games, kids will have access to nutritional information and their own library. Their parents and others in the neighborhood can get help looking for work or finding the agency that can meet a need. A nurse will offer health exams.
A lot of people don't know where to go to access the services. And so the Hackett Community Center is here as a one-stop shopping center.
The concept has been working for 2 years across town at the Merrill Center. While a neighborhood center won't solve all problems, organizers believe it's the way to achieve success in the Hackett community. One child, one parent, one person at a time. Dave Mossner, WISC News 3, Beloit. A potato shortage gave craft businesses making small batches an advantage over large producers of potato chips, which was good news for the maker of Uncle Larry's and Red Dot chips in Broadhead. They're frying them just as fast as they can here in Broadhead. Larry Marty hopes to cash in with his own Red Dot and Uncle Larry's brand potato chips, while the largest producer, Frito-Lay, can't meet demand. The reason? A poor 1990 crop of potatoes has most chip companies looking for spuds.
We contract all our potatoes ahead of time, and as we speak, we have our potatoes are coming through, and we don't have any possibility so far that we are going to be short.
Meanwhile, 15 miles down the road in Beloit, Frito-Lay officials say they're producing more corn-based products. While the snack food war is being fought on the store shelves, so far, out on the streets, the chip shortage hasn't hit home.
I'm not really too concerned about it. We run out of potato chips, we run out of potato chips, I guess.
I can eat all the potato chips. All the potato chips I want, I can eat. If I want to go find them, they're here. You just got to hunt for them.
But chip experts say you won't have to hunt long. The next big potato crop should be ready to harvest in mid-June. Dave Mossner, WISC News 3, Broadhead. A century ago, most people had a direct link to farming. As that connection lessened, it meant people didn't know about farm life or farm animals. The Fort Atkinson FFA tried to introduce city kids to the country. Up close and personal, kid to kid, one at a time, Fort Atkinson's future farmers are introducing 1,200 elementary students to typical farm pets and farm animals.
Try to educate them right away so they don't get the wrong idea about the different animals.
It's the first time a lot of these Fort Atkinson kids have seen farm animals up close, because as more and more of us move to the city, we forget about life on the farm. And if customers can't remember what wool on a sheep feels like or know where it comes from, farmers worry they won't understand what life is like on the farm, or the roles played by the animals.
Importance of animals for milk and meat and wool and fiber. And we really want to stress that and try to educate the students at an early age.
Agnew says people that don't understand farming are likely to be against practices used on farms, especially when it comes to the treatment of animals, an issue future farmers want settled now.
It's best that anybody gets a little bit of knowledge so that they don't develop wrong ideas.
Students hope giving kids the chance to hold a baby chick will get them interested in farming, even if they might never get this close to a chicken again.
When I was in grade school, they never told us much about the egg. In FFA, we always thought it was more for the farm kids, and if you lived on a farm, you could be in it. And now that I'm in it, I see you don't have to.
At the very least, the high schoolers hope when it comes time for these little ones to buy groceries, they'll remember it doesn't start out plastic wrapped, frozen, and ready to eat. Dave Mossner, WISC News 3, Fort Atkinson. In pursuit of more tourists and more revenue, many states in the late 1980s turned to racetracks and casinos. As an answer to the dog track built in Wisconsin Dells, Iowa legalized casino gambling in 1989. The Casino Belle docked in Dubuque, April 1st, 1991. With that, the Casino Belle became the battleship in Dubuque's fight to lure tourists to the River City.
It's huge, very large. It's quite spectacular.
The $12 million riverboat is a gamble by Dubuque and Iowa that tourists will come and bring money. Money to plug in slot machines and drop on blackjack tables.
We think that this is definitely going to bring a lot of tourism, and we saw our tourism leave a lot when Wisconsin Dells opened up the dog track. And we're hoping that this helps bring some of it back.
Having lost a dog racing monopoly over Wisconsin, Dubuque is hoping this latest entrant, the Casino Belle, will help it in its fight for Wisconsin tourism dollars.
Oh, we're here just to enjoy the afternoon, and we heard a lot about this boat, and it's a very spectacular event, and we're really enjoying it.
As the loudest salvo yet in a vacation destination war, Dubuque hopes this time it's cashed in on a solid future. Dave Mossner, WISC News 3, Dubuque. The Monroe Arts Council was excited to book the China Magic Review from Taiwan to their community in Greene County, Wisconsin. When junior high students were enlisted to serve as roadies for the entertainers, it became even better. Welcome to the other side of show business. It's out of the ordinary for schoolwork.
Turn around and follow me.
Instead of books, stage props took center stage. But the chance for junior high kids to smell the grease paint and miss class at the same time was definitely worth it.
I thought it was great. Oh, it was so neat.
Neat seemed to be the word to describe the show. Ecstatic might describe the Monroe Arts Council after it landed the troupe.
The Chinese Magic Review is somewhat of a familiar name to a lot of people, and we just aren't usually fortunate enough to be able to book a group like that.
More amazing than getting the show into Greene County was an arm-twisting display of flexibility.
I like the part where the lady got in the back.
It's really, it'd be hard I think it'd be really hard to fit in the back of it.
Although Taiwan is still a long way from Monroe, Wisconsin, these ambassadors lifted their culture out of a textbook and on stage in a lesson the students aren't likely to forget. Dave Mossner, WISC News 3, Monroe. Before Wisconsin became a state, Delavan started serving as the winter home for 26 different circus troupes between 1847 and 1894. So it was natural to base the International Clown Hall of Fame and Museum in the Walworth County community. It became so popular, it ran out of room. Busloads come to look, learn, and laugh.
I have a genuine antique umbrella for sale today.
But the lack of room is no laughing matter. The performance hall is right in the display area, and there isn't enough space for more than 50 people at a time.
When we had 3 buses stop here in one day, the place was a panic. I mean, one bus would leave, the next one would come. I mean, we were just deluged with the whole thing.
Lang wants the clowns to move into bigger surroundings, but the problem is cost. $300,000 for a larger temporary home and $2 million to build a new place.
I still believe that we can do this, and I don't think we have to move to another community. I think we can stay in Delavan. But if it doesn't come around, then we'll have to look at those possibilities.
But Lang says he's optimistic.
Blast off!
25,000 people have laughed here since it opened, giving local clowns a place to show off.
I've probably done more clowning in this past year than any other year. It seems that clowns are popular.
Herbie hopes he and his friends are popular enough to keep the Clown Museum in Delavan. Dave Mossner, WISC News 3, Delavan. Chris McEwen was the first woman to take a line technician class offered by Blackhawk Tech, and the second woman hired by Wisconsin Power and Light as an apprentice, making her a pioneer on the line. Chris McEwen knows hard work from spending 10 years at General Motors, but learning the lines as a first-year apprentice has redefined her view of hard work.
It pushes you to your limits at times, but I enjoy it, and it's nice being outside.
McEwen learned the basics at Blackhawk Tech's line technician class. She's the first woman to come through that program, and just the second line woman hired by Wisconsin Power and Light.
I'll get used to what's going on, what they're doing. But they ain't too bad, I guess. She ain't bad at all.
A month after starting, the fact McEwen's a woman is hardly noticed.
It's been a change for the crew. They've had to get used to things, and I've had to get used to things, but we seem to be meshing pretty good.
Like any other first-year line apprentice that gets hired, she's got certain expectations and goals that she must accomplish to move on. And
because McEwen's an apprentice, it'll be 4 years before she's qualified to work on hot power lines. That's her next goal. Meanwhile, she does the little things all rookies do while waiting and working to move up the line. Dave Mossner, WISC News 3, Darlington. Beloit welcomed the Milwaukee Brewers Class A farm team in 1982. 8 years later, the newness had worn off for the community-owned team, which meant more work to keep fans coming. As the team celebrated its 10th anniversary, it also came to grips with what it took to keep the team with more local money paying for team travel and improving the ballpark, Pullman Field, which hosted the Beloit Brewers and then Beloit Snappers for 40 years. The pressure to even be a minor league town led the city and donors to invest in ABC Supply Stadium, which opened in the summer of 2021.
The Beloit Brewers are hitting their stride after a wet spring on the field and, more importantly, in the stands. As in Madison, the novelty of minor league ball in Beloit's worn off, making the product offered even more important.
It's extremely important what we're doing at the ballpark at the time. If we have some nice promotions lined up and a lot of fun-filled atmosphere for the fans, that brings them out also.
Kretz says it helped attendance to have Juan Nieves and Jim Gantner on the roster for a while this season. The team averages 60,000 fans a year, but shooting for 65 to 70,000 this season. If it goes lower than 60, that's bad news.
We need to be having some good support from the community to keep the ball club here, and I think this year hopefully we're going to generate that interest again and keep people coming out.
The community-owned team plows all its money back into the stadium, making improvements to keep Milwaukee happy. One of the features this ballpark needed were new light standards that used to be on the field here. At the end of last season, the city kicked in $150,000 for new ones. City officials say they like the money and jobs the team creates, but mostly just like having the Brewers in town.
It has really given the city an opportunity to have an identity in the region that says we have something that's special.
And something Beloit hopes sticks around for a long time. Dave Mossner, WISC News 3 Sports, Beloit. The price of minor league ball teams have gone up so much, Beloit wouldn't even be in the running if they tried to attract a team today. As it is, the Beloit Club's new contract with the majors will cost an extra $25,000. It means Beloit has to pay travel costs for the team and make major improvements to the ballpark. That's one of the reasons tonight's game is so important. Everyone's happy about the anniversary, but most of all, Beloit needs the money.
And the money that from the ticket revenues and what we pick up from this event is going to go into a fund for these particular improvements.
The minor major league contract holds Class A Beloit to the same standards as the Brewers' AAA farm team in Denver. But the Beloit organization will pay the extra money because the team and what it adds to the city is worth it.
It's important for any city. Beloit's just lucky enough to have a minor league baseball team. And secondly, it's great that they got Milwaukee. I think after we got the Brewers, we got on the map a little more than we did before. And not only sport magazines, but a lot of things.
Beloit plans to stay on the map by raising the money it takes to keep the Class A Brewers at home. Dave Mossner, WISC News 3, Beloit.
Beckman Mill closed its doors in 1954. The Beckman family eventually gave the closed mill to the county, which hoped to turn it into a park and educational site. A member of the Beckman family returned to see the overgrown building in 1990, hoping that could happen.
For Bill Beckman, this is a trip home. He practically grew up here at the flour mill his family owned and ran from the 1870s until it closed in 1954.
It doesn't look like it's beyond repair, as far as I can see. But they would sure like to get it back in shape again the way it was.
Now graffiti, not grain, line the rotting walls of the old mill. Raccoon Creek slides past, bypassing the missing water wheel that powered the grindstone. Instead, the water tumbles over what's left of the mill dam, just a distant echo of life at the mill in the 1930s.
There was as many as 7 or 8 horse-drawn vehicles with grain on them to be ground waiting in line.
Beckman hopes enough financial support can be found to resurrect the registered historic structure into a working mill again, something the county on its own hasn't been able to afford and now doesn't even know how much it'd cost.
The county's intention was to work on restoring the building and getting it set up as a historical educational feature for the county here.
If the Friends of the Mill don't succeed and can't raise the money to fix up this old place, they're hoping Old World Wisconsin will take it. If not, this place will be left to rot. Dave Mossner, WISC News 3, Beckman Mill.
The Beckman Mill's restoration was complete by 1998 and reopened to the public. That's it for this look at a variety of South Wisconsin stories on Vintage Video, the Wisconsin Grab Bag Edition #2. Thanks for joining me. I'm David Mossner. See you next time.